Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone in a coffee shop in downtown Chicago, and suddenly you realize you've been sitting there for 20 minutes, but you can't remember a single thing you just read. Your mind was somewhere else entirely, maybe replaying that awkward conversation from yesterday, or worrying about tomorrow's meeting, or wondering what that person at the next table thinks about your outfit. Sound familiar? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of us aren't actually controlling our minds. Our minds are controlling us. We're like passengers in our own heads, along for whatever ride our thoughts decide to take us on. But what if I told you that over 2,000 years ago, some of the most powerful people in the world figured out exactly how to flip this script? Today's video is going to change your mindset for the better, but before we dive in, let's do a quick mind exercise. Do you remember your last thought before you clicked on this video? Whether you remember it or not, don't worry. This isn't about judgment. This is an invitation to awaken a power within you that lies dormant in most people. The power to truly master your mind. Through the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, we're going to explore 7 techniques that the greatest minds in history used to control their thoughts in a world that was just as chaotic and overwhelming as ours today. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, dealt with plagues, wars, and political chaos, yet he maintained incredible mental clarity. Seneca managed enormous wealth and political pressure while staying centered. Epictetus went from being a slave to becoming one of the most respected teachers of his time. These weren't just philosophers sitting in ivory towers. They were real people facing real problems, and they developed practical techniques that work just as well in modern America as they did in ancient Rome. To prove how effective these techniques are, here's a challenge for you. At the end of this video, select one Stoic principle that resonates most with you, practice it intensely for 2 weeks, and then share your results in the comments. You'll be surprised by the transformation it brings. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his personal journal, which we now call Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Today, we're going to learn exactly how to harness the mental strength Marcus wrote about. The first place most people lose control of their minds is when they start caring too much about what everyone else thinks. Technique 1. How to stop caring what everyone thinks about you. Sarah, a 28-year-old graphic designer in Brooklyn, used to spend her Sunday mornings crafting the perfect Instagram post. She'd take dozens of photos of her weekend brunch, edit them for an hour, write and rewrite captions, then sit there refreshing her phone every 5 minutes to see how many likes she got. If a post didn't perform well, her entire mood would tank. She was living her life through other people's approval, and it was exhausting. This is the first battleground where most of us lose control of our minds, the constant need for external validation. We've created a world where other people's opinions have become more important than our own inner compass, and it's driving us crazy. But here's what the Stoics understood that we've forgotten. Letting go of external perceptions is the cornerstone of mastering your own mind. Marcus Aurelius, who literally had millions of people watching his every move as Roman emperor, wrote something that should blow your mind. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Think about that paradox for a second. You care about yourself more than you care about strangers, yet you'll let a stranger's opinion ruin your entire day. The path to mental mastery starts with understanding that the only domain truly under your control is your own mind. When you shift your focus from external validation to internal clarity, something magical happens. You stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver. Let me tell you about Marcus, a 35-year-old marketing director in Seattle. He used to present ideas in meetings with his heart racing, not because the ideas were bad, but because he was terrified of what his colleagues might think. Every critique felt like a personal attack. Every suggestion for improvement felt like rejection. He was so focused on managing other people's perceptions that he couldn't think clearly about the actual work. Then Marcus discovered the Stoic principle. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. He started practicing a simple technique. Before every meeting, he'd remind himself that his worth wasn't determined by whether people liked his ideas, but by whether he was thinking clearly and contributing honestly. The shift was incredible. His presentations became more confident, his ideas more creative, because his mental energy wasn't being drained by the fear of judgment. This isn't about building a fortress around your ego or becoming arrogant. It's about cultivating a garden within your mind, one where the seeds of your thoughts are nurtured by your own values and convictions, not trampled by the judgments of others. When you anchor your worth in your own judgment, criticism becomes just information, not ammunition against your self-esteem. The transformation Marcus experienced illustrates what the Stoics called the fundamental shift from external to internal focus. Before this change, he was essentially living as a prisoner of other people's potential reactions. His creativity was stifled, his decision-making paralyzed, and his energy constantly drained by the exhausting task of trying to predict and manage what others might think. Sound familiar? Most of us are walking around in this same mental prison without even realizing it. Here's what's really happening when you're constantly worried about others' opinions. You're giving away your mental sovereignty. Every time you make a decision based on what others might think rather than what you believe is right, you're essentially crowning someone else as the ruler of your mind. The Stoics understood that this was the fastest way to lose control of your thoughts and, ultimately, your life. But here's the beautiful thing about this first technique. It's immediately actionable. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions or spend years in therapy. You can start reclaiming your mental territory right now. The key is to catch yourself in the act of seeking external validation and consciously redirect that energy inward. Let's get practical. Think about the last time you posted something on social media. Were you sharing it because it genuinely represented something you cared about? Or were you hoping for likes, comments, and validation? There's nothing wrong with wanting connection, but when your mood depends on the response, you've handed over control of your emotional state to strangers on the internet. Here's a simple exercise you can try today. The next time you catch yourself worrying about what someone thinks of you, ask yourself this question. Is this person's opinion more important than my own peace of mind? Usually the answer is no. That person is probably thinking about their own problems anyway, not judging every little thing you do. The Stoics had another powerful insight about this. Most of the time, people aren't thinking about you at all. We create elaborate scenarios in our heads about how others are judging us, but the reality is that everyone is primarily focused on their own lives, their own problems, their own insecurities. The spotlight effect, the feeling that everyone is watching and judging your every move, is largely an illusion created by our own self-consciousness. Consider Jennifer, a 32-year-old lawyer in Chicago, who used to agonize over every email she sent at work. She'd write, rewrite, and rewrite messages, worried that her colleagues would think she wasn't smart enough or professional enough. She was spending hours each day on emails that should have taken minutes, all because she was trying to manage everyone else's perception of her competence. When Jennifer learned about this Stoic principle, she started timing herself. She gave herself 5 minutes to write an email, then sent it without looking back. The result? Her colleagues couldn't tell the difference, but Jennifer had reclaimed hours of her day and significantly reduced her stress levels. She realized that her perfectionism wasn't actually about doing better work. It was about managing other people's opinions, and it was costing her dearly. The Stoics called this focusing on the internal rather than the external. You can't control what others think, but you can control how much mental real estate you give to their opinions. When you master this first technique, you free up enormous amounts of mental energy that you can redirect toward what actually matters: your goals, your relationships, your growth. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent to feedback or ignoring constructive criticism. The Stoics weren't advocating for arrogance or isolation. Instead, they were teaching us to evaluate input based on its merit, not on our need for approval. When someone gives you feedback, you can consider whether it's useful without needing them to validate your worth as a person. The ultimate goal of this first technique is what the Stoics called inner citadel, a fortress of self-respect and self-knowledge that can't be shaken by external opinions. When you build this inner strength, you become truly free. You can take risks, express your authentic self, and pursue your goals without being paralyzed by the fear of judgment. But here's what happens next. Even when you stop caring what others think, life will still hit you with challenges that test your mental strength. Sometimes those challenges feel so overwhelming that they threaten to break you completely. That's where our second technique becomes crucial. Technique 2, why bad things happen and how they make you stronger. David thought his life was over when he got the call. After 8 years at a tech company in San Francisco, he was being laid off. Not just him, half his department was gone in a single afternoon. At 34, with a mortgage and 2 kids, he felt like he was drowning. For the first week, he sat on his couch, scrolling through job boards and spiraling into panic about his future. But what happened next changed everything he thought he knew about failure and success. This is where most people's minds completely lose control, when life hits them with something unexpected. A job loss, a breakup, a health scare, or a financial crisis. These moments feel devastating, but the ancient Stoics discovered something crucial. These events are not just random acts of cruelty from the universe. They are opportunities in disguise, and learning to see them that way is the second technique for mastering your mind. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials." This wasn't just philosophical musings. Seneca lived through political exile and personal tragedies. He understood adversity deeply. Our modern world teaches us to avoid hardship at all costs. We believe a good life is one free from struggle and pain. But the Stoics understood that strength is built in discomfort. Mental and emotional resilience work the same way as physical strength. Every challenge you face is like a rep in the gym for your mind. After that first week of panic, David remembered his grandfather saying, "Every ending is a beginning in disguise." Instead of seeing his layoff as a disaster, he viewed it as a chance for growth. He used his severance to enroll in a coding boot camp he'd been considering for years. He networked with people he had neglected, and even started a side project he had been dreaming about. 6 months later, David landed a job at a startup that paid 40% more than his previous position, along with equity that could be life-changing. More importantly, he felt more confident and capable than he had in years. The layoff that seemed like the worst thing that could happen had actually pushed him to level up his entire career. This transformation illustrates what the Stoics called the obstacle as the path. Every difficulty you encounter isn't blocking your way. It is the way. It's teaching you something valuable or redirecting you towards something better. But here's the key. This only works if you consciously choose to see adversity as an opportunity for growth. Your mind defaults to seeing problems as threats, entering survival mode and shutting down higher-level thinking. The Stoic technique is to override that default and ask a different question. How is this making me stronger? Consider Maria, a 29-year-old restaurant manager in Miami, who went through a devastating breakup after a 5-year relationship. Her boyfriend left her for someone else, and she felt completely betrayed. For months, she couldn't sleep, eat, or focus at work. She replayed every moment of the relationship, trying to figure out what she'd done wrong. Then Maria discovered the Stoic principle about adversity. She began asking, "What is this heartbreak teaching me?" The answers were uncomfortable but powerful. She realized she had been compromising her own values to keep the peace. The breakup forced her to reconnect with who she was as an individual. Maria started taking salsa dancing classes again, applied for a promotion she'd been scared to pursue, and traveled solo to Costa Rica. A year later, she was stronger, more confident, and more authentically herself than ever before. This is what Seneca meant when he said trials perfect us. They strip away what's not essential and reveal what truly matters. They teach us that we're more resilient than we think. The Stoics understood that our perception of events determines their impact on us more than the events themselves. A job loss can be a catastrophe or an opportunity. A health scare can be a tragedy or a wake-up call. The facts remain the same, but the meaning we assign to them changes everything. Here's a practical exercise. Keep a growth journal. Each time something goes wrong, write down 3 ways it could make you stronger or teach you something valuable. You are literally rewiring your brain to look for opportunities instead of just threats. This doesn't mean denying pain or pretending bad things don't hurt. The Stoics weren't advocating for toxic positivity. They felt pain just like everyone else. The difference is that they didn't let pain define them. They used it as fuel for growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He reminded himself of this truth because he needed to hear it. Building emotional resilience is akin to forging steel in fire. The heat doesn't destroy the metal. It makes it stronger. Every hardship you face is an opportunity to become more resilient, but only if you choose to see it that way. When you master this technique of seeing obstacles as opportunities, you will stop fearing adversity and start getting curious about it. You'll begin to trust your ability to handle whatever life throws your way because you know that every challenge is making you stronger. Building emotional resilience does not mean glossing over disappointments, but realizing you possess the wisdom to interpret them in a way that encourages personal growth. Even once you've learned to see challenges as opportunities, there's still one thing that can derail your progress: how you interpret what's happening moment by moment. That's where our third technique becomes crucial: learning to control the lens through which you see the world. Technique 3. The simple trick that changes everything you see. Imagine you're walking down a familiar street in Los Angeles, humming to your favorite song. Suddenly, you trip over a crack in the sidewalk and stumble. You might feel embarrassed, anxious, or even angry at the universe for throwing this unexpected obstacle in your path. But what if you could train yourself to see that stumble not as a setback but as an unexpected step? This simple shift in perception is what Stoicism teaches us, and it's the third technique for mastering your mind. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, famously said, "Men are not disturbed by things, but the view they take of them." This profound insight reveals that our emotional reactions to events are not determined by the events themselves, but by our interpretation of them. The way we perceive challenges can make all the difference between feeling defeated and feeling empowered. Let's break this down further. When something goes wrong, a missed promotion, a failed relationship, or a bad performance review, our immediate instinct may be to perceive it as a failure. We might spiral into negative thoughts, questioning our abilities and self-worth. But if we learn to adjust our perception, we can transform that experience into a valuable lesson. For example, think about Lisa, a 30-year-old sales manager in Chicago. Last quarter, she was confident she would hit her sales target. Instead, she fell short, and her manager expressed disappointment. Initially, Lisa felt crushed. She replayed the conversations in her head, worrying about how her colleagues viewed her. But after some reflection, she decided to apply the Stoic technique of reframing her perception. Instead of seeing the missed target as a failure, she viewed it as an opportunity for growth. She asked herself what she could learn from this experience. Lisa analyzed her sales strategy, identified gaps in her approach, and sought feedback from her manager. As a result, she developed a more effective sales plan and, by the next quarter, surpassed her targets by 30%. This shift in perception allowed her to grow, rather than becoming stuck in self-doubt. The power of perception is like a lens through which we view the world. If your lens is clouded with negativity, everything will appear grim and challenging. However, if you can clear that lens and focus on the possibilities, you'll see opportunities where others see obstacles. The Stoics taught that our thoughts shape our reality, and by consciously choosing how we interpret events, we can cultivate a more resilient mindset. Here's a practical exercise to help you strengthen this perception-shifting skill. Keep a daily log of events that trigger negative feelings. Each time something bothers you, write it down. Next to each event, note at least one alternative interpretation or lesson learned. For instance, if you received critical feedback at work, instead of viewing it as a failure, write down how it could help you improve. Over time, you'll develop a habit of reframing negative experiences into positive learning opportunities. This technique is particularly valuable during stressful times. When life feels chaotic, it's easy to become overwhelmed. By practicing perception shifting, you can regain control over your emotional responses. Instead of feeling defeated by challenges, you can approach them with curiosity and resilience. Another aspect of this technique involves recognizing the temporary nature of challenges. Just as the weather changes from rain to sunshine, your circumstances will also fluctuate. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Remember that very little is needed to make a happy life, Sometimes we get so wrapped up in our negative experiences that we forget the bigger picture. The ability to zoom out and see your life as a whole can help you maintain perspective. Let's take the example of Tom, a 45-year-old accountant who faced a significant health scare. When he was diagnosed with a chronic condition, his initial reaction was panic. He feared what this would mean for his job and his family. However, after some reflection, Tom decided to use this setback as a catalyst for change. He began exercising regularly, eating healthier, and prioritizing time with loved ones. The diagnosis, which initially felt like a disaster, became a turning point that improved his overall quality of life. This is where the Stoic practice of accepting what you cannot control becomes essential. You may not have power over certain events, but you have complete control over how you respond to them. By shifting your perception, you can turn potential crises into opportunities for personal growth and transformation. One powerful Stoic phrase that encapsulates this technique is amor fati, which translates to love of fate. This concept encourages us to embrace everything that happens to us, even the difficult moments, as necessary parts of our journey. The Stoics believed that accepting and loving our fate leads to a more fulfilling and resilient life. So, the next time you encounter a setback, remember that you have the power to choose how you perceive it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Embrace the challenges, knowing they are crucial to your growth. When you begin to see obstacles as opportunities, you unlock a new level of mental mastery. In summary, the third technique focuses on the power of perception, the lens through which we view our experiences. By consciously choosing to reframe negative events, we can transform them into valuable lessons. This practice not only builds emotional resilience, but also fosters a mindset of curiosity and growth. It's a simple yet profound trick that can change everything about how you experience life. Technique 4. How to stay calm when life gets crazy. Life in a bustling city like New York can often feel overwhelming. The noise, the crowded subways, the constant buzz of activity, all of it can create a sense of chaos that makes it hard to focus. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and frustration rises. In moments like these, staying calm can feel impossible. But what if I told you that there are ancient techniques to help you maintain your composure, no matter how crazy life gets? The Stoics believed that our perceptions shape our reactions. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This insight is the foundation of our fourth technique, learning how to cultivate inner calm amidst external chaos. When you find yourself in a stressful situation, the first step is to pause and take a deep breath. This simple act can help ground you in the present moment. Breathing deeply activates the body's relaxation response, slowing your heart rate and calming your mind. Try this. Inhale deeply for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. Repeat this a few times, and you may find that your anxiety begins to dissipate. Next, practice the Stoic principle of distinguishing between what you can control and what you cannot. The traffic jam is beyond your control, but how you respond to the situation is entirely up to you. Instead of succumbing to frustration, remind yourself that getting upset won't change the circumstances. Instead, focus on what you can control, your mind and your reactions. To illustrate this point, Let's look at the story of Anna, a 40-year-old teacher in Los Angeles. One morning, she was running late for a crucial presentation at school. As she sat in gridlock traffic, panic set in. She felt her heart racing and her frustration growing. Then, she remembered a technique she had learned from Stoic philosophy, the dichotomy of control. Anna took a deep breath and reminded herself that being late was out of her hands. What she could control was her attitude. Instead of letting anger take over, she decided to use the time to mentally prepare for her presentation. She visualized the key points she wanted to make and mentally rehearsed her speech. By shifting her focus from the traffic to her performance, she transformed a stressful situation into a productive one. This technique of focusing on what you can control can be applied to any stressful situation. Whether it's a tight deadline, a difficult conversation, or unexpected changes, you can choose to respond calmly and thoughtfully. When you accept that some things are beyond your influence, you reclaim your power over your emotional state. Another valuable practice for maintaining calm is mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment, observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. In a chaotic world, mindfulness can serve as an anchor, helping you stay grounded. Consider incorporating a short mindfulness practice into your daily routine. It doesn't have to be lengthy. Even just a few minutes can make a difference. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As thoughts arise, acknowledge them without getting caught up in them. Simply return your focus to your breath. This practice can help you cultivate a sense of calm that you can draw upon during stressful moments. When life feels chaotic, it can also be helpful to remind yourself of the Stoic concept of amor fati, or love of fate. This philosophy encourages you to embrace everything that happens, even the challenging moments, as necessary parts of your journey. By accepting the unpredictability of life, you can reduce the anxiety that often accompanies uncertainty. For example, think about Tom, a 32-year-old software engineer in Seattle. One day, he received unexpected feedback from his boss that a project he had worked on wasn't meeting expectations. Initially, he felt defensive and anxious. However, after reflecting on the Stoic principle of amor fati, he decided to embrace the feedback as an opportunity for growth. Instead of reacting negatively, he scheduled a meeting with his boss to discuss how he could improve. This proactive approach not only helped him regain his composure, but also strengthened his relationship with his supervisor. Cultivating calmness in the face of chaos also involves setting boundaries. In our hyper-connected world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by constant notifications and demands on our time. Consider setting aside specific times to check emails or social media, rather than allowing them to interrupt your day. This small adjustment can create a sense of control over your environment and reduce anxiety. Additionally, make time for self-care. Whether it's exercising, reading, or spending time with loved ones, engaging in activities that replenish your energy is essential for maintaining calmness. By prioritizing self-care, you build resilience and create a buffer against stress. Finally, remember that it's natural to feel overwhelmed from time to time. Stoicism teaches us that experiencing negative emotions is part of the human experience. The key is not to avoid these feelings, but to understand and manage them. Acknowledge your stress, and then apply the techniques we've discussed to regain your composure. In summary, staying calm in the midst of chaos is a skill that can be developed through practice. By focusing on your breath, distinguishing between what you can control and what you can't, practicing mindfulness, embracing a more fatty, setting boundaries, and prioritizing self-care, you can cultivate a sense of inner peace. When chaos arises, remember that you have the power to choose your response. You can face each day's challenges with a calm and focused mind, ready to navigate whatever life throws your way. As you continue to practice these Stoic techniques, you'll find that your ability to remain composed in stressful situations will grow stronger. Technique 5. Why you can't stick to your goals and how to fix it. Have you ever set a New Year's resolution with great enthusiasm, only to find yourself back where you started a few weeks later? Whether it's losing weight, saving money, or learning a new skill, many people struggle to stick to their goals. This can be incredibly frustrating, leaving you feeling defeated and questioning your willpower. But what if the key to achieving your goals lies not in sheer determination, but in understanding how to cultivate self-discipline? Self-discipline is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, and it plays a crucial role in helping you stay committed to your objectives. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of self-control when he said, "A person's worth is measured by the nobility of their ambitions and the strength of their self-discipline." This principle reveals that achieving your goals is not just about setting them. It's about developing the discipline to see them through. The first step to improving your self-discipline is to understand what pulls you off course. In our fast-paced, distraction-laden world, it's easy to lose sight of your goals. You might find yourself binge-watching TV shows instead of working on that project, indulging in junk food instead of sticking to your diet, or scrolling through social media instead of studying. These distractions seem harmless, but they can derail your progress if left unchecked. Let's take the example of Jake, a 27-year-old aspiring writer. He set a goal to complete a novel within 6 months. Initially, he was excited and wrote daily, but soon, distractions crept in. He started spending hours on social media, getting lost in videos and posts. Before he knew it, the deadline was approaching, and he had barely made any progress. Frustrated, Jake realized that he needed to regain control over his time and focus. This is where the Stoic concept of self-discipline becomes essential. Self-discipline is not just about resisting temptation. It's about creating an environment that supports your goals. Jake decided to implement practical strategies to help him stay on track. He set specific writing hours, turned off notifications on his phone, and created a dedicated workspace free from distractions. By establishing boundaries, he made it easier to focus on his writing and stay committed to his goal. Another effective strategy for building self-discipline is to break your goals into smaller, manageable tasks. When faced with a large goal, it can feel overwhelming, leading to procrastination. By breaking it down into smaller steps, you create a clear roadmap to follow. For instance, instead of saying, "I want to write a novel," you could break it down into daily word count targets, such as, "I will write 500 words each day." This approach not only makes the task feel less daunting, but also provides you with a sense of accomplishment as you complete each smaller goal. Additionally, consider using a technique called temptation bundling. This involves pairing a task you want to do with one you need to do. For example, if you enjoy listening to podcasts, you might decide that you can only listen to your favorite podcast while you're exercising. This way, you create a positive association with the task you need to complete, making it easier to follow through. Staying committed to your goals also requires a mindset shift. Instead of viewing discipline as a restrictive force, see it as a form of freedom. The Stoics believed that true freedom is found in self-control. When you develop discipline, you free yourself from the whims of distraction and impulsivity. This allows you to make choices aligned with your values and long-term objectives. Let's return to Jake's story. After implementing these strategies and breaking his goal into smaller tasks, he found that he was more productive and focused. He no longer felt overwhelmed by the prospect of completing a novel. Instead, he relished the small victories of hitting his daily word count. Each completed task strengthened his self-discipline and brought him closer to his ultimate goal. Another important aspect of self-discipline is accountability. Sharing your goals with others can provide additional motivation to stay on track. Consider finding a goal buddy or joining a group where you can discuss your progress and challenges. Knowing that someone else is aware of your commitments can help reinforce your dedication. As you work to build self-discipline, remember that setbacks are a natural part of the process. It's easy to get discouraged if you slip up or miss a day of practice. The key is to approach these setbacks with a stoic mindset. Instead of dwelling on your mistakes, view them as opportunities to learn and grow. Ask yourself what led to the slip and how you can adjust your approach moving forward. For instance, if you had a week where you didn't write at all, instead of berating yourself, reflect on what happened. Were you too busy? Did you lose motivation? Understanding the underlying reasons can help you develop strategies to prevent similar issues in the future. Lastly, remember to celebrate your successes, no matter how small. Acknowledging your progress reinforces positive behavior and encourages you to keep moving forward. Whether it's treating yourself to a favorite snack after completing a week of writing or sharing your achievements with friends, celebrating your milestones can reinforce your commitment to your goals. In summary, self-discipline is essential for achieving your goals. By creating a supportive environment, breaking your goals into manageable tasks, and viewing discipline as a form of freedom, you can cultivate the inner strength needed to stay committed. Remember to embrace setbacks as opportunities for learning and to celebrate your progress along the way. As you implement these techniques, you'll find that your ability to stick to your goals improves significantly. By developing self-discipline, you empower yourself to take control of your life and steer it in the direction you desire. The journey may not always be easy, but with practice and determination, you can achieve the success you seek. Technique 6, the 5-minute practice that stops overthinking. In today's fast-paced world, overthinking has become a common struggle for many. Picture this. You're lying in bed at night, your mind racing with thoughts about work, relationships, and everything in between. You replay conversations, worry about upcoming meetings, and analyze every decision you've made. This cycle of overthinking can lead to anxiety, stress, and even insomnia. But what if there were a simple practice that could help you regain control over your thoughts and calm your mind? This is where the 6th technique comes into play. Stoicism offers powerful tools to combat overthinking, and the simplest among them is the 5-minute practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the act of being fully present in the moment, observing your thoughts without judgment. It allows you to step back from the chaos in your mind and create space for clarity and calm. Let's start with a practical exercise that you can implement immediately. The next time you find yourself spiraling into an overthinking episode, take a deep breath and set a timer for 5 minutes. During this time, focus on your breath. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold it for a moment, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat this process, allowing your breath to become your anchor. As thoughts arise, about work, relationships, or personal worries, acknowledge them without judgment and gently bring your focus back to your breath. This act of redirecting your attention helps to break the cycle of overthinking. The goal is not to eliminate your thoughts, but to observe them without getting caught up in them. This practice is grounded in Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes the importance of controlling our reactions to external events. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By practicing mindfulness, you learn to manage your thoughts and emotions instead of allowing them to control you. Let's look at an example. Consider Rachel, a 32-year-old project manager in Boston. After a challenging day at work, she often found herself lying awake at night, replaying meetings in her head and worrying about deadlines. This overthinking left her exhausted and stressed. One night, she decided to try the 5-minute mindfulness practice. As she focused on her breathing, Rachel noticed that her thoughts began to settle. Instead of spiraling into anxiety, she felt a sense of calm wash over her. By the end of the 5 minutes, she had gained clarity about her concerns. She realized that many of the things she was worrying about were beyond her control. This newfound perspective allowed her to let go of unnecessary stress and sleep more peacefully. Incorporating this 5-minute practice into your daily routine can be transformative. Aim to practice mindfulness at least once a day, perhaps in the morning to set a positive tone for the day or in the evening to unwind before bed. As you become more familiar with the practice, you might even find that you can use it in moments of stress throughout the day, whether it's before a big presentation or during a heated conversation. Another effective strategy for combating overthinking is journaling. Writing down your thoughts can help you process and clarify them. When you put your worries on paper, they often lose their power. You can set aside 10 minutes each day to write about what's on your mind. This practice can help you identify patterns in your thinking and reveal any irrational fears that may be driving your anxiety. For instance, Mark, a 28-year-old teacher, struggled with overthinking as he prepared for his final exams. He often felt overwhelmed by the pressure to perform well. To combat this, he started a journaling practice. Each evening, he would write down his thoughts and feelings about the upcoming exams. By expressing his worries on paper, he found that many of his fears were unfounded. This clarity allowed him to approach his exams with a more confident mindset. In addition to mindfulness and journaling, consider implementing the October 10th 10 rule. This technique involves asking yourself how you will feel about a particular decision or worry in 10 minutes, 10 months, and 10 years. This perspective can help you evaluate whether your current concern is truly significant in the grand scheme of your life. Often, you'll realize that the things you're overthinking won't matter in the long run. For example, if you're stressed about a minor mistake you made at work, ask yourself how you will feel about it in 10 minutes. Chances are you'll forget about it. In 10 months, it will be a distant memory. And in 10 years, it likely won't even register as a blip on your radar. By applying this rule, you can free yourself from the grip of overthinking and focus on what truly matters. Lastly, remember to practice self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself for overthinking, but beating yourself up will only add to your stress. Recognize that everyone struggles with overthinking at times and that it's a part of being human. Instead of criticizing yourself, treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Acknowledge that it's okay to have worries, but remind yourself that you have the tools to manage them. In summary, the 5-minute mindfulness practice is a powerful tool for combating overthinking. By focusing on your breath and redirecting your attention, you can create space for clarity and calm. Incorporating journaling, the October 10th 10 rule, and self-compassion into your routine can further enhance your ability to manage your thoughts. As you practice these techniques, you'll find that your mind becomes quieter and more focused. You'll start to regain control over your thoughts and feelings, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and resilience. Remember, mastering your mind is an ongoing journey, but with these tools, you'll be better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way. Technique 7: Why going it alone never works. In our modern society, the idea of the self-made individual is often celebrated. We admire stories of entrepreneurs who built their businesses from the ground up or artists who achieved fame through sheer talent. While these narratives can be inspiring, they can also create a dangerous illusion: the belief that we should face our challenges alone. The truth is that no one succeeds in isolation. This is why our 7th technique focuses on the importance of community and connection in mastering your mind. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, once noted, "Mankind are made for each other. Either teach them better or bear with them." This simple yet profound statement highlights the fundamental truth of human interdependence. We thrive when we are connected to others, and our growth is often facilitated by the support and encouragement of those around us. Consider the story of Emma, a 30-year-old graphic designer living in Chicago. After moving to the city for a new job, she felt isolated and overwhelmed. Despite her talent, she struggled with self-doubt and anxiety, which stifled her creativity. Emma often spent her evenings alone, working on projects but feeling disconnected from the world. As a result, her work suffered, and she began to question her abilities. One day, a friend encouraged her to join a local design group. Reluctantly, Emma attended her first meeting. To her surprise, she found a supportive community of fellow designers who shared their struggles and successes. The group provided a safe space for sharing ideas, giving feedback, and brainstorming solutions. Emma quickly realized that she wasn't alone in her feelings of doubt and insecurity. By engaging with this community, Emma discovered a renewed sense of purpose. She began to collaborate on projects, share her work for critique, and receive constructive feedback. The support of her peers helped her regain confidence, reigniting her passion for design. With encouragement from her new friends, she submitted her work to a local art show and received recognition for her talent. Emma's story illustrates the power of community in overcoming challenges and fostering growth. When you're surrounded by supportive individuals, you're more likely to take risks, share your ideas, and push through self-doubt. The Stoics understood that our relationships with others can significantly influence our mental state and personal development. To cultivate a supportive community, consider the following strategies. 1. Seek out like-minded individuals. Look for groups or organizations that align with your interests and values. Whether it's a book club, a professional association, or a hobby group, connecting with people who share your passions can create a sense of belonging and support. 2. Be open and vulnerable. Don't be afraid to share your struggles and vulnerabilities with others. Authentic connections are built on honesty. When you open up about your challenges, you invite others to do the same, fostering deeper relationships. 3. Offer support to others. Building a community is a two-way street. Be willing to lend a helping hand or offer encouragement to others. When you support your peers, you not only strengthen your relationships but also reinforce your own commitment to personal growth. 4. Utilize online communities. If you're unable to find local groups, consider joining online communities that align with your interests. Platforms like Facebook, Reddit, and specialized forums can connect you with individuals from all over the world who share your passions and challenges. 5. Find a mentor or coach. A mentor can provide valuable guidance and support as you navigate your journey. Whether it's in your career or personal development, having someone to guide you can make a significant difference in your progress. 6. Participate in workshops or events. Attending workshops, seminars, or networking events can introduce you to new contacts and provide opportunities for collaboration. These events often foster a sense of community among participants, encouraging connections that can lead to lasting relationships. While building a community takes time and effort, the rewards are immeasurable. A strong support network can help you overcome obstacles, celebrate achievements, and provide a sense of accountability. This is especially important when it comes to maintaining your mental well-being and resilience in the face of challenges. But what if you find yourself in a situation where you've isolated yourself? It's easy to feel like you should handle everything on your own. But remember that seeking help is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it takes courage to reach out and ask for support. For instance, consider Mark, a 28-year-old software developer who spent his days locked away in his home office, tackling projects alone. Although he was highly skilled, he often felt overwhelmed and disconnected from his colleagues. His productivity suffered, and he became increasingly frustrated. After attending a coding boot camp, he realized the importance of collaboration and sought to engage with others in his field. Mark began to participate in local meetups, where he shared his knowledge and connected with fellow developers. The support he found in these gatherings transformed his work life. Not only did he gain new insights and fresh ideas, but he also built lasting friendships. By opening himself up to connection, he became more grounded and confident in his abilities. Ultimately, the Stoics taught us that our greatest strength lies in our connections with others. We are not meant to face life's challenges alone. By cultivating a community of support, we can navigate difficulties, celebrate victories, and grow together. Remember that seeking connection is a powerful act of self-care. In conclusion, the 7th technique emphasizes the importance of community in mastering your mind. By seeking out like-minded individuals, being open and vulnerable, and offering support to others, you can build a network that nurtures your growth. Embrace the power of connection, knowing that you don't have to face life's challenges alone. As we wrap up our exploration of these 7 powerful techniques for mastering your mind through Stoic philosophy, it's essential to reflect on how these practices can transform your everyday life. Each technique, whether it's learning to stop caring what others think, embracing adversity as a pathway to growth, or cultivating community support, equips you with the tools to navigate the complexities of modern living with resilience and clarity. Remember, each of us faces challenges, whether big or small. What sets successful individuals apart is not the absence of these challenges, but their ability to respond to them with the wisdom and strength cultivated through Stoic principles. By actively practicing these techniques, you're not just reacting to life. You're taking charge of your experiences, shaping your reactions, and ultimately steering your life in the direction you desire. Let's reflect on the key takeaways from the techniques we've discussed. Stop caring what others think. Focus on your own values and judgments rather than external validation. Your self-worth is not determined by others. Embrace adversity. Use challenges as opportunities for growth. Each setback is a chance to learn and develop resilience. Shift your perception. Practice mindfulness and reframing to transform negative thoughts into constructive insights. Your perspective can change your reality. Cultivate calmness. Develop techniques to remain composed in chaos. Focus on what you can control, breathe, and practice self-care. Build self-discipline. Create an environment that supports your goals, break them into smaller tasks, and be accountable to others. Practice mindfulness. Use the 5-minute technique to ground yourself during moments of stress and anxiety. Journaling can clarify your thoughts. Seek community support. Remember that you are not alone. Engage with others who share your goals, and don't hesitate to reach out for help. Now that you have these practical tools in your arsenal, it's time to put them into action. Challenge yourself to select one technique that resonates most with you and practice it for the next 2 weeks. Notice how your mindset shifts, how your responses to challenges change, and how you grow as a result. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, we encourage you to take a moment to subscribe to the STOIC VIVU channel. By doing so, you'll gain access to more insights and practical applications of Stoic philosophy that can enrich your everyday life. Don't forget to like this video and share it with friends who might benefit from these teachings. Your engagement helps us reach more people looking to improve their lives through the wisdom of Stoicism. Thank you for joining us on this journey towards mastering your mind. Remember, every step you take towards self-improvement is a step towards a more fulfilling life. Embrace the challenges, apply the techniques, and watch as you transform not just your mind, but your entire life.